This is not just another text about how to earn wealth. It is a sacred map to learn how to manipulate the energy of money like an alchemist of prosperity. Here you will discover how to summon its presence, how to open the doors of your life to it, and how to keep its flow constant, abundant, and harmonious. Prepare yourself to break the invisible chains that limit your prosperity and awaken the creative power that has always been within you. Because when you learn to direct the energy of money, you don't just change your bank account, you change your destiny. This is not a book about finances, it is a book about life. Because money, far from being a dead, inert thing or something external to you, is a living expression of the energy that flows throughout the universe, and also through your body, your mind, and your soul. Money is not an object, it is a current. And like every current, it has rhythm, frequency, and direction. It is, in essence, an energy that breathes. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that man is what he thinks about all day long. That is also what he experiences, what he projects, and yes, what he earns, what he loses, what he attracts. If your thought is fear, scarcity, or rejection, money will respond. If it is gratitude, vision, and faith, money will also respond, because money has no will of its own. It is obedient. It conforms to the invisible mold of your consciousness. Luke wrote in his Gospel, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap." Luke 6:38. This statement is not a moral rule, but a vibratory law. Money does not arrive by chance. It comes as the result of an inner emission, as the exact correspondence between your vibratory state and the economic field. Wallace D. Wattles, author of The Science of Getting Rich, expressed it precisely. It is not by doing certain things, but by doing things in a certain way that one becomes rich. That certain way begins with gratitude, because gratitude is not merely a virtue, it is a bioelectric switch. When you give thanks, you align your nervous, emotional, and energetic systems with the frequency of receiving. You activate the flow, you open channels. This book will teach you to see money as living, obedient, and expandable energy. It will show you how your subconscious generates wealth, how your words magnetize bills, how your emotions shape balances. You will learn to sow money with purpose, to unlock beliefs that block it, to visualize it as an electromagnetic current, and to turn it into a legacy of service. You are not here to merely survive, you are here to circulate, and this text will be your navigation manual for a river that never ceases, money that breathes, that moves, that obeys the one who knows how to tune into it. Prepare yourself, because as you read, you will remember something your soul already knows. You do not chase money, you emanate it. Money is living energy. Based on Joseph Murphy, we have noticed that more than 80% of those who visit our channel are not subscribed. You can support this project by pressing the subscribe button and liking the video. Thank you for inspiring us to keep creating more and better content for you. Are you ready to transform your life? Chapter 1. The Vibratory Nature of Money. Most people think of money as an inert object, something you either possess or lose, a cold number printed on a bank statement. But I want you to suspend that inherited idea for a moment. Because if you are to truly understand and attract real abundance, not the outer mirage, but the living flow of divine provision, you must redefine money from its energetic essence. Money is not static matter. It is frequency, rhythm, pulsation. It is the visible manifestation of an invisible state, and you, dear reader, are the constant generator of that frequency. Everything in the universe vibrates. Tesla stated it clearly. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. This law is as exact as the law of gravity. Nothing escapes this reality. Gold vibrates, a thought vibrates, your faith vibrates, and money responds to that vibration. The human electromagnetic field, studied today by physicists, mystics, and physicians alike, is no accident of the body. It is a projection of the mind, and within that field are inscribed your beliefs, your emotions, your memories, your self-concept. This energetic projection interacts moment by moment with the universal substance, that vibrant plasma the Bible calls Abraham's bosom and scientists call the quantum field. Do you know what happens when you hold an idea of scarcity for weeks, months, or years? That idea generates a weak, incoherent, erratic electrical charge. The result? The flow of money dissolves, disperses, becomes clouded. But when you align inwardly with security, gratitude, and the expectation of good, then money, like an obedient river, flows toward you. There is no magic in this, there is law. I have seen people without education, without contacts, without initial capital, multiply their income within weeks by transforming their mental frequency. I have worked with bankrupt businessmen who, upon understanding this truth, regained solvency before year's end. It wasn't luck, it was vibratory adjustment. Money is a messenger. It carries the imprint of your vibratory identity. Just as an electrocardiogram reveals the health of the heart, the balance in your account reflects the health of your beliefs. One of my patients, an educated but embittered man, told me, "Doctor, whenever I earn something, I lose it." I asked him to write down every thought he had about money for 7 days. After a week, his notebook contained phrases like, "It's not enough and they're going to take it from me. Rich people are corrupt." In electromagnetic terms, those phrases were sabotage discharges. I taught him to repeat 3 times a day. Money is divine energy. It flows to me and through me in harmony with universal good. Within 3 months, his financial situation changed, not by chance, by mental polarization. Faraday, who discovered the laws of electromagnetism, proved that every current produces a field. The same applies here. Every sustained emotion generates an invisible current that attracts its like. Resentment attracts blockage. Envy produces leakage. Gratitude establishes continuity. Have you ever wondered why some live in constant prosperity while others crawl in lack? Why some make money work for them while others live enslaved by debt? The answer lies in the invisible generator, the subconscious mind, but we will speak of that in the next chapter. I want you to engrave this truth deep within your being. Money is not a thing, it is an expression, and you are the channel through which that expression is either manifested or blocked. Do not blame the system, the government, or your parents. Observe your vibration. Is it one of trust or of fear, of openness or of complaint? As a man thinks in his heart, so is he, Proverbs 23:7. Translated into modern language, as your center vibrates, so vibrates your surroundings. Let me give you an exercise. Each night before you sleep, close your eyes and visualize a beam of golden light entering through your crown. Let it descend along your spine and expand through your entire body. Imagine that this light turns into bills, coins, bank transfers, checks, contracts. Say softly, "I vibrate at the frequency of abundance. All good belongs to me by law." Do this for 21 nights. Do not be surprised if you receive unexpected calls, job offers, or debt cancellations. It will be the law in action. Money has no will of its own. It obeys, it responds, it is guided by the dominant energy within you. In this chapter, I have given you neither superstitions nor financial tips. I have given you applied spiritual law, and this law is as reliable as the law of magnets. Remember, money is visible vibration, and your vibration precedes it. Nothing could be more scientific, nothing could be more spiritual. Chapter 2. The subconscious dynamo of wealth. If money is vibratory energy in motion, as we clearly established in the previous chapter, then it is necessary to identify the generator, the invisible source that produces that vibration. That source is not external. It is not in the bank, nor in the market, nor in the fluctuations of the stock exchange. It is within you, and it is called the subconscious. Your subconscious mind is an invisible dynamo, a perpetually active power plant that never sleeps, never rests, never judges, never reasons, never distinguishes between what is real and what is imagined. It takes what you give it, a thought, an image, a belief, and turns it into form, into matter, into experience. Just as a power plant transforms water into light, the subconscious transforms your emotionally charged thoughts into visible facts. What you see in your financial life is, without exception, the expression of a previous impression. Use this formula. Every outer expression is the result of an inner impression. When you affirm, for example, "Money is never enough for me," your conscious mind sends out that idea with an emotional tone. That charge, fear, frustration, anxiety, then penetrates into the silent chamber of the subconscious like a seed into the soil, and the subconscious, without rejecting it, without debating it, accepts it as law. Then, like a diligent farmer, it makes it grow. Unexpected expenses appear. Payments fall behind, conflicts with debtors arise, not because the universe is punishing you, but because the law has fulfilled its course. This principle is irrefutable. Paul the Apostle expressed it this way: God cannot be mocked. Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. Galatians 6:7. And here, God must be understood as the inner creative principle, the subconscious law that governs personal destiny. Freud, though limited by his clinical approach, understood that the subconscious is the archive of our drives. I tell you now, it is more than that. It is the instrument by which your desires turn into wealth. If you know how to operate it wisely, it is not enough to want money. You must feel it. You must vividly imagine it. You must wrap every thought of abundance in the emotional garment of certainty, because only emotion is the vehicle of impression. Without it, the affirmation does not penetrate. Without it, the desire remains in the air like a spark without fuel. A woman wrote to me from Buenos Aires, "I have repeated for weeks that I am rich, but my situation has not changed." I asked her, "Do you repeat it with fear or with joy?" She replied, "With fear that it will not work." There was the mistake. The subconscious hears the dominant emotion, not the superficial words. It is the vibration of the soul that imprints the idea. Do you now understand why so many prayers seem unanswered? Because the inner voice is not saying, "I have," but "I lack," and the subconscious, like a faithful servant, obeys. Let me explain with a clinical image. Your conscious mind is the syringe, your subconscious the body. No matter how beautiful the needle or how elegant the hand that holds it, what matters is the substance being injected. Are you introducing doubt or faith, gratitude or resentment, expectation or fear? I have taught many men to transform their financial fate by re-educating their impressions. A Houston executive used to believe that money is dirty. That idea, rooted in years of misinterpreted sermons, produced in his subconscious a vibratory resistance. Nothing flowed. Everything was blocked. I taught him to repeat before sleeping, in a calm voice, "Money is a symbol of divine good. I receive it with joy and share it with gratitude." Within 6 weeks, he received an unexpected promotion, a raise, and an investment offer. None of this was a miracle. It was law. Your subconscious is not guided by merit or physical effort. It does not reward long hours of work nor punish leisure. It rewards the sustained image. It punishes, if that word can be used, internal contradiction. This is why it is vital to watch your words, but even more so your emotions. Are you planting faith? Are you watering your ideas with enthusiasm, with vision, with certainty? Or are you scattering seeds of lack, covered in doubts and complaints? The subconscious is fertile soil. Whatever is planted grows. It does not choose between flowers or thorns. Your mind, like the field, does not argue with the sower. It simply produces. Here is a simple technique to begin re-educating this powerful inner dynamo. Before sleeping, enter a state of deep relaxation. Breathe in and out 3 times, then repeat silently, feeling it in every cell. I am a clean and open channel for the divine flow of money. All my needs are met. My mind produces wealth with ease. Visualize a golden current descending upon you, not as a trick, but as a vibratory correspondence with your new identity. Do this for 21 nights. Do not analyze. Do not question. When you wake each morning, say aloud, even before getting out of bed, "Today I prosper. Today good follows me. Today abundance manifests." Because what the subconscious hears at dawn, it reproduces at dusk. Remember, you are not a beggar pleading for fortune. You are the operator of a cosmic generator. And that energy you call money is the electricity that flows according to the design you yourself activate. There is no chance, no punishment, no privilege. There is law. And the law says, according to the impression of your soul, so will be the expression of your bank account. Chapter 3. Programming the current with gratitude. If the subconscious is the silent generator of all wealth, gratitude is the voltage that turns it on, regulates it, and multiplies it. It is the spiritual current that sets dormant energy in motion. Every monetary unit, every bank figure, every potential income responds instantly to this frequency, and it does so because gratitude is not a decorative feeling. It is an operative force, an invisible current that transmutes the unseen into the seen, the immaterial into the tangible. Luke the evangelist summarized it in a perfect vibratory law. Whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they think they have, will be taken from them. Luke 8:18. This phrase, which to many sounds harsh, is actually an accurate description of mental magnetism, because having does not refer to external possession, but to internal consciousness. And whoever has a consciousness of abundance, that is, whoever vibrates in gratitude, inevitably attracts more. Meanwhile, whoever lives in lack, that is, in complaint or comparison, loses even what was given to them. Meister Eckhart, the German mystic of the 11th century, wrote, "If the only prayer you ever said in your whole life was thank you, that would suffice." Not as an act of religious courtesy, but as a principle of spiritual polarization, because gratitude produces alignment, and whatever is aligned with the law of life multiplies. Money, when blessed with gratitude, becomes obedient energy, but when it is accompanied by guilt, fear, or greed, it turns erratic, hostile, fugitive. This is not punishment, it is spiritual physics. Did you know that every bill that passes through your hands carries your emotional imprint? The way you give, spend, pay, and charge creates a vibratory signature. That signature returns to you, multiplied or diminished according to the voltage with which it was sent out. This is not about morality. It's about the electricity of the soul. Your bank account does not only need monetary deposits, it needs impulses of gratitude. Every time you look at your financial statement with resentment, you introduce a corrosive discharge. Every time you look at it with thankfulness, even if there is little, you introduce a constructive discharge, and that voltage determines the next inflow. I have seen people transform their economy solely by changing their emotional frequency. They did not win the lottery. They did not inherit fortunes. They simply learned to vibrate in gratitude. A young baker from Veracruz once came to me in distress. He said, "I do everything right, I work hard, but I'm not moving forward." I asked him, "Do you give thanks for the money you already have, even if it's little?" He looked puzzled. "Thankful for what?" he said. "I barely make ends meet." I taught him the following ritual. Each night before bed, take a blank sheet and write down 3 financial things to be grateful for that day, even the smallest ones. A tip, a discount, a favor received. Then, out loud and with full conviction, say, "Thank you, Father, because your provision flows without ceasing. Every peso is a blessing, and every blessing multiplies." After 6 weeks, his business began to grow, not by luck, but by alignment. This practice is called the blessing log. It is not superstition. It is mental programming. Because by focusing on what is received, you activate the law of continuity. Like attracts like. If you acknowledge the good reproduces. If you ignore the good stops. Emmett Fox put it bluntly, no matter what you lack, start by giving thanks for what you have, and what you lack will come. This principle has been proven in thousands of cases. One bankrupt businessman began to bless every bill, every cent, every receipt. He even gave thanks for his debts, saying, "Thank you because I have someone to pay. Thank you because this paper represents a living economic relationship." In less than a year, his income tripled, not by magic, but by vibratory coherence. Now I propose a daily exercise. Upon waking, before touching your phone or thinking about your tasks, sit in silence and say, "Thank you for this new day. Thank you for the invisible provision that sustains me. Thank you because today money flows to me through perfect channels." Do this for 30 days. Do not expect immediate external changes. Observe the internal ones, and you will see how, little by little, your financial atmosphere clears. Gratitude is a vibratory habit. Like electricity, it requires constant contact. An occasional thank you is not enough. You must live in a state of gratitude, even and especially when circumstances seem adverse. Do you have debts? Give thanks because those numbers, though negative, represent experiences, lessons, relationships. Do you have little income? Give thanks because that income, though modest, sustains your existence. What you bless grows, what you curse withers. Paul was clear in his letter to the Thessalonians, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you." 1 Thessalonians 5:18. Let us translate. The will of the creative principle is that you align yourself with the vibration of gratitude, because that is the only way provision can flow without blockage. Money does not respond to need, it responds to vibration. And gratitude is the purest, highest, most fertile vibration. Program your financial current with gratitude, not empty gratitude, but active, charged, ignited gratitude. See your wallet as a capsule of energy. See every coin as a spark of the infinite. See every expense as a seed. And say with conviction, everything I give returns to me in multiplied forms. Because I give with gratitude, I receive with abundance. Gratitude is not optional, it is the electric key to wealth. Chapter 4. Unlocking Burnt Mental Wires. Just as an electrical system can collapse from a single blown fuse, your financial attraction system can also go dormant from the action of a single thought charged with negativity. It doesn't matter how well you have sown, affirmed, or visualized, if in some hidden corner of your mind there still lingers an idea of guilt, fear, or resentment, the flow stops, the current is interrupted, and wealth does not manifest. Your subconscious mind works like a network of energetic conduits. Each dominant idea forms a wire. If that wire is made of gratitude, faith, and trust, energy flows without obstruction. But if that wire is corroded by heavy emotions, the entire system becomes overloaded. Fatigue, stagnation, and frustration arise. In spiritual terms, you have installed a short circuit in your own provision channel. Guilt is one of the most dangerous fuses. It operates like a reverse current. Every time you judge yourself for past mistakes, every time you inwardly repeat, "I don't deserve it," you are installing a vibratory filter that blocks the reception of good. It doesn't matter how many times you pray or affirm, if condemnation still echoes deep within your soul, the subconscious acts as if you had told it. Stop the flow. Isaiah put it clearly, your iniquities have separated you from your God. Isaiah 59:2. And what is translated here as God should be read as the creative principle, the law of flow, the living intelligence. The separation is not geographical, it is mental. It does not come from an external judge, but from an inner breakdown. Jung understood that every repressed shadow, every unresolved unconscious content, eventually projects itself as destiny. In financial terms, this means unhealed trauma expresses itself as debt, loss, sabotage, or the inability to receive. It is as if the soul said, "I will not allow myself to prosper until I have paid this guilt." But this is false. No one rises through self-annihilation. You must forgive yourself, not as an emotional outburst, but as an operational decision. Forgiveness is the restoration of the system. It is reconnecting the wire, and it is not enough to simply say, "I forgive myself." You must visualize it. You must install a new emotional image into your subconscious. Here is an infallible technique. Sit in silence, close your eyes, breathe deeply. Imagine your mind as a dark room with an electrical panel. Each fuse there represents an emotion. Identify the burnt ones: guilt for not having done more, hatred toward the one who betrayed you, fear of not being enough. Now picture yourself removing each damaged fuse and replacing it with a new, bright, luminous one. Name it: forgiveness, trust, release. Then say, "I am free. The past has no power over me. Every mistake has been absorbed by the infinite intelligence. I allow myself to joyfully receive the best in life." Do this exercise for 7 nights. You will notice that after a week, your inner energy changes, and that change will be followed by outer movements, an opportunity, a pending payment, a phone call. This is not coincidence, it is a vibratory result. Neville Goddard expressed it masterfully. You are not bound by your past, unless in your imagination you continue to live in it. Here lies the key. If your imagination still replays scenes of defeat, you are recreating the cause. But if you install images of success, you are laying the foundation for a new future. The second fuse that often burns out is fear. Fear of losing, fear of judgment, fear of not knowing how to handle abundance. This fear produces contraction. Energy does not flow, it stagnates. And where there is stagnation, there can be no multiplication. How is fear dissolved? Through repeated autosuggestion. Do not expect it to disappear on its own. You must actively replace it. Suggest to your subconscious phrases such as, "I live in a safe universe. Everything that comes into my life lifts me higher. Abundance strengthens me." Repeat these phrases softly just before sleep when the mind is most receptive. Nighttime suggestion has extraordinary power because it penetrates without resistance. And finally, resentment. This subtle fuse destroys more fortunes than laziness or ignorance. As long as you hold hatred, envy, or comparison toward another human being, you are diverting your creative energy towards self-destruction. You cannot attract abundance while secretly wishing another to lack. The solution is imaginative forgiveness. Visualize that person, look into their eyes and inwardly say, I bless you, I release you, I set you free to prosper, and I set myself free to receive the good that is mine. Do this whenever resentment appears, not out of morality, but for energetic hygiene. Every negative emotion is a spiritual short circuit, but every conscious act of release is an immediate repair. You do not need years of therapy. You need a vibratory decision. Remember, you're not here to repeat your past. You're here to build a new channel of circulation. And for that, you must check your inner system daily, just as an electrician inspects his panel. Ask yourself, what thought is burning my wire today? What emotion is interrupting the flow? Correct it immediately, because money, like light, does not wait. It flows only where there is a clean channel. Chapter 5. The Circuit of Giving and Receiving. True wealth is not accumulation, it is circulation. It is not the stagnation of goods, but a constant flow between conscious givers and receivers. Just as blood nourishes the body only when it circulates, money sustains life only when it moves through channels of purpose and love. If you interrupt this flow, no matter how much you possess, you have broken the law. And every violation of the law brings loss, scarcity, and frustration. All creation is organized according to a pattern of exchange. The sun gives heat, the earth produces fruit, the sea exhales and collects, the body inhales and exhales. And you give, receive, allowing that energetic current that is life itself to flow and return multiplied. I ask you with spiritual firmness, are you trying to receive without offering, to hold without sowing? Emerson, in his essay on compensation, expressed it clearly. Every outflow is an inflow. Cosmic balance cannot be violated without consequence. This is not a moral dogma, but a law of spiritual physics. The law of circulation states that every loving outflow generates a multiplied inflow, not by chance, but by resonance. When you give voluntarily, joyfully, consciously, you send a signal of abundance. You are telling the universe, I have. And as we saw with Luke, to the one who has, more will be given. But when you refuse to give, when you fear letting go, you send a signal of scarcity. You are saying, there is not enough, and the universe responds in the same frequency. There is no more for you. The Tao Master taught that a river that never empties never fills. This apparent paradox reveals the secret of expansion. Whoever empties momentarily is filled in greater measure. It is the mystery of the cup that never runs dry because it is always pouring. But for this law to work in your favor, you must give with clear vibration. It is not about giving for the sake of giving. It is not about guilty charity or giving out of obligation. It is about giving from the inner well of abundance. The outward act may be the same, a transfer, help, a gift, but the internal emotion transforms it into fertile seed or barren stones. That is why I now teach you conscious tithing. It is not a fixed percentage you pay as a spiritual tax. It is a deliberate, loving, and programmed gesture of energetic circulation. Every time you receive money, a salary, a sale, a gift, a refund, set aside a part. It can be 10%, less, or more, and direct it toward a cause you honor, that uplifts, that expands good. It can be a person, an institution, a project. Before giving that tithe, say consciously, this is my offering to the divine circuit. As I give, I receive multiplied. This seed carries my intention, my gratitude, and my certainty of return. Money given in this way becomes a vibrational message. You have lost nothing. You have sown. Many object to this practice, saying, I don't have enough to give. To that I respond with an unbreakable law. You don't have enough precisely because you haven't started giving. Don't wait for abundance to sow. Sow, and you will see abundance. A merchant once told me, Doctor, if I barely cover expenses, how can I tithe? I taught him to start with a symbolic gesture. Set aside the equivalent of a cup of coffee each week and give it silently. After 3 months, not only could he tithe comfortably, his profits had doubled. Why? Because he activated the law, he set the circuit in motion. And I am not only talking about money, I'm talking about creative service. When you serve from your natural gift without demanding immediate reward, you also activate circulation. A talent used multiplies. A shared ability expands. The musician who plays for others in gratitude tunes their soul. The teacher who teaches expecting nothing but the joy of learning leaves an eternal mark. Do you have something to offer today? Knowledge, a skill, a resource, an hour of your time, a kind gesture. Give it without measuring, withholding, or expecting exact return. And watch how life, through unexpected channels, begins to return it to you in different forms. A new client, an idea, an ally, an opportunity. Remember, the channel that gives remains open. The one that withholds rusts. Circulation is the breath of the universe. When you give, you breathe out. When you receive, you breathe in. The perfect balance is to maintain that rhythm. Ask yourself today, am I breathing wealth or holding it back? Am I giving from abundance or withholding out of fear? Do this exercise for 7 days. Each night, write in a journal 3 ways you gave that day: money, time, attention, listening, support, and give thanks for the opportunity to have been a channel. Then write, I receive back in perfect ways. My life is a living circuit of giving and receiving. There is no lasting wealth without circulation. There is no expansion without offering. Money, like love, only grows when shared. Chapter 6. Mental treatments for flow. The energy of money, like water, requires constant movement to maintain its purity and renewing power. If it stagnates, it becomes corrupted. If it flows, it multiplies. The human mind, especially its subconscious dimension, acts as the gatekeeper of this flow. Just as the farmer channels river water toward their fields, you can channel the current of money through specific mental treatments designed to direct, maintain, and increase its circulation in your life. This is not about magical suggestion or unconscious rituals. It is scientific prayer, as I have taught in many of my books and broadcasts. Conscious autosuggestion and rhythmic breathing as keys to synchronize body, mind, and universal substance. Let's begin with the mental check. This technique has been successfully used by thousands who, without changing jobs or receiving inheritances, have seen their financial flow improve within weeks. It consists of visualizing a check made out to you, signed by infinite intelligence, by the world you wish to receive, as if it were already yours, not as an illusion, but as a decreed reality. Each night before sleep, close your eyes and visualize this check. Feel its texture, look at the exact amount. See your name clearly written. Whisper, this check is mine by divine right. It is a visible expression of the infinite substance flowing toward me. I receive it with gratitude, use it wisely, bless it and multiply it. Repeat this exercise for 21 days. Do not do it as if you expect a lottery win. Do it as one activates a law. At MedFox I said, prayer is the art of tuning your consciousness to the reality of good. We do not pray to change divine will, but to harmonize with it. And in that state of harmony, good flows. The second treatment is rhythmic breathing. Most people breathe with anxiety, interruptions, and fear. That is not breathing, it is surviving. And if your breathing is tense, your financial flow will be tense as well, because breath is the bridge between body and mind. Each inhalation is reception, each exhalation is giving. I propose this morning exercise. Sit with your back straight, close your eyes. Inhale for 4 counts, holding the air calmly. Exhale for 6 counts, releasing all tension. With each inhalation, think, I receive. With each exhalation, think, I give. Do this silently for 5 minutes. After a week, you will notice your body feels more open, your mind more receptive, and your actions more confident. Breath is prayer without words. The third treatment is gentle self-hypnosis, which requires no complex technique or deep trance. It simply induces your subconscious to accept a new economic truth. Do it at the threshold of sleep, that moment when the conscious mind weakens and the subconscious opens like fertile soil. Lie down, relax every muscle, and repeat quietly as a lullaby one of these phrases. I am an irresistible magnet for divine money. Every day I receive more than I need. My income increases through perfect channels. Everything I give returns to me multiplied. I live in the current of good. Wealth seeks me and finds me. Do not force yourself. Do not try to believe with effort. Simply repeat serenely, like dropping a seed into the earth and trusting it will grow. Your subconscious will know what to do with that seed. Many of my radio listeners, housewives, office workers, retirees, entrepreneurs, have transformed their lives by applying these techniques. This is not about irrational miracles. It is about internal causes generating external effects. Remember, your mind does not work for you when you give it sporadic commands. It works when you train it consistently. Flow is a habit, not an accident. Each time you pray with faith, each time you breathe with awareness, each time you affirm with peace, you open an invisible valve through which money, as obedient energy, enters, distributes, and returns. You do not have to force anything, just maintain the current. You do not have to steal, just affirm. You do not have to beg the universe, just vibrate in tune with its abundance. Make these treatments a daily practice, not as an obligation, but as mental hygiene. Just as you brush your teeth to avoid cavities, cleanse your mind daily to avoid financial blockages. And whenever doubt tries to enter, remind yourself of this truth. Wealth flows to me because it is already within me. My mind activates it. My faith releases it. My action sustains it. Chapter 7. Electromagnetic Visualization. Every visible creation is first born as an invisible image. The money you hold in your hands, the house you live in, the vehicle you drive, all were once ideas. The difference between those who create abundance and those who live in scarcity does not lie in chance or destiny, but in the quality, persistence, and voltage of their mental images. Thought, in its most subtle form, is vibration. But not every vibration produces form. Only those charged with emotion, wrapped in sensory detail, and sustained with continuity manage to impact the universal substance, which responds like a living mirror to the intensity of the soul. This is the foundation of electromagnetic visualization. Tesla, when conceiving his inventions, did not limit himself to imagining diagrams. He saw them working, heard them vibrating, felt them operating before building them. He said, "I do not need to physically experiment with what I have already experienced in my mind." And Maxwell, when formulating the laws of the electromagnetic field, understood that every electrical impulse generates a field of influence. This applies not only to atoms but also to your thoughts. When you hold a mental image with enough emotion, you generate a current. If you repeat that image with accuracy, with faith, with detail, you produce a field, and that field, like an expanding wave, attracts similar particles, resonant situations, compatible people. This is how the law works. Electromagnetic visualization is neither fantasy nor daydreaming. It is spiritual technology. I will now teach you how to apply it. 1. The ideal moment is dawn. Upon waking, your mind is still in the alpha state, receptive, relaxed, without conscious defenses. Get up. Sit in silence with your spine straight, feet touching the floor. Close your eyes and regulate your breathing. 2. Choose a concrete image. Do not just say, "I want to prosper." Visualize a specific act, receiving a check, signing a contract, seeing a transfer completed, entering your renewed office. Detail colors, textures, sounds. Who is with you? What do you feel? What does the environment smell like? Emotion is the electric field. Detail is the magnetic field. 3. Coat the image with joy. It is not enough to see it. You must feel it. The money you imagine must produce in you the same happiness as if you already had it. Without emotion, there is no discharge. Without discharge, there is no field. 4. Place the sensation in your solar plexus. That area below the sternum is the center of emotional radiation. When an image is well formed, you will feel warmth, vibration, an expansion there. That spark indicates the energy has been activated. 5. Hold the scene for 10 minutes, no more, no less. If you get distracted, gently return. If you feel resistance, "This is impossible, this is not for me," do not fight. Simply reaffirm, "This is real on the vibrational plane, it already exists." I call it into manifestation. 6. At the end, release. Do not cling. Say with peace, "Thank you, because this is already mine. I will see it in its perfect form at the precise moment." Then go on with your day confidently. Repeat this exercise for 30 days. Do not alter the scene. Do not change the desire. Repetition is what strengthens the field. Emotion is what ignites it. Certainty is what magnetizes it. I have worked with entrepreneurs, artists, students, retirees, all with different income levels, education, and age, and the pattern repeats. Those who visualize with constant emotion manifest. Those who doubt sabotage, not because the method fails, but because the field is interrupted. A woman in Colombia imagined for exactly 40 days a phone call with a job offer. Every day at 5 a.m., She saw herself answering the phone, hearing the words, "We want to hire you," feeling the joy in her chest. On day 41, the call came not by magic but by vibrational field. Tesla affirmed that thought energy can be projected with the same precision as an electric wave. Electromagnetic visualization is that projection. Thought that sparks in the solar plexus becomes a force that rearranges external conditions. But you must have discipline. You cannot create today and cancel tomorrow. You cannot ask with certainty in the morning and lament with fear in the afternoon. The field does not respond to incoherence. The secret is not fierce intensity but serene constancy. And a warning, do not use this technique to harm, control, or manipulate. The energy you emit always returns to its source. Visualize good, visualize joy, visualize service. Then your image will become you. Remember, what you hold clearly in your mind and your solar plexus will manifest, not because you deserve it more than others, but because you have generated the correct frequency. Chapter 8. Words that magnetize wealth. Words are not empty sounds, they are vehicles of energy, precise instruments that shape invisible substance and direct it towards specific forms. Every word spoken with intention, every phrase charged with emotion, every decree held with conviction, acts like an organizing ray that structures matter according to its vibration. This is not an esoteric belief. It is a spiritual law operating since the origin of the world. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, says the Gospel of John 1. This does not refer to a grammatical verb, but to the creative force that vibrates as mental sound. The universe was not created by accident. It was decreed, vibrated, invoked. Just as when you speak with faith, you invoke financial, mental, and physical conditions. Hermes Trismegisto summed it up in his eternal axiom, as above, so below, as within, so without. The word you emit from within projects outward as circumstance. And if your word is charged with fear, you will create scarcity. If it is charged with certainty, you will create abundance. The word is the magnet of your personal field. Modern science is only beginning to understand what ancient sages already knew. Language not only describes reality, but generates it. Each word is a vibratory pattern that influences the energetic structure of the body, the environment, and money. That is why it is not enough to think well. You must speak well. It is not enough to feel prosperity. You must verbalize it. When you say, "I have no money," you are issuing an electromagnetic order. When you affirm, "This is difficult," you are setting your field for difficulty. When you repeat, "Money comes with effort," you are installing a frequency of struggle in your financial aura, and the law does not judge, it simply obeys. Verbal autosuggestion is therefore the tool to reconfigure your economic atmosphere. You don't need to repeat phrases mechanically, you need to vibrate them. You need to pronounce them with the same certainty you feel inside. Every word must be a command of light that reprograms your field. Now I offer you a list of high-voltage affirmations designed to magnetize wealth. Do not repeat them like parrots. Use them as hammers of creation. I am one with the infinite source of wealth. All good flows to me now. Every word I speak builds my prosperity. My voice is an instrument of creation. The substance of the universe responds to my decrees. What I declare with faith manifests with power. I speak wealth, think wealth, vibrate wealth, and wealth responds to me. My financial aura is charged with golden light. Everything I touch prospers. My income continually increases through expected and unexpected channels. My word is law for my subconscious, and my subconscious generates gold. Every cell in my body vibrates at the frequency of abundance. I am a magnet for divine money. I bless every figure, every coin, every bill, and what I bless multiplies. I declare that this week I receive good financial news. So it is, and so it will be. Use these affirmations morning and night. Speak them aloud with a firm tone without doubt or sarcasm. Write them by hand. Record them with your voice. Stick one on your mirror. Every word repeated with deep intention installs itself like new software in your subconscious system. And do not speak against them during the day. Do not say, "This isn't working. I'm not good with money. Everything is expensive." That would sabotage the field. Guard your words like rare tools. Use them only to build. And remember, your financial aura is shaped by your decrees. The law of vibration does not distinguish between what is desired and what is feared. It only responds to the energy you emit. and if you emit words charged with certainty, faith, and gratitude, you will attract their counterpart. John expressed it clearly, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. John 1:1. Your word will also become flesh. It will become income, contract, transfer, opportunity. There is no magic in this, there is law. And the law says what you affirm with your voice and feel with your heart, you will live with your body. Chapter 9. The Law of Correspondence in Business. The human mind, when unconscious of its power, believes that success in business depends exclusively on external factors: strategy, capital, contacts, market conditions. But when spiritual understanding awakens, one discovers that every financial result is a mathematical reflection of a prior state. The financial balance sheet is the faithful mirror of the mental balance, and this correspondence is not circumstantial. It is law. Hermes Trismegisto formulated this principle with unsurpassed precision: as within, so without. This phrase, engraved in the heart of the Kabbalion and all Hermetic philosophy, tells us there is no separation between the mental cause and the visible effect. The outside is simply the organized projection of the inner vibratory content. And if you wish to change your numbers, sales, income, savings, investments, you must begin by changing your predominant emotions. Solomon, wise among the wise, said it in his own way. Above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Proverbs 4:23. He was not speaking of the physical organ, but of the vibratory center where emotions reside, because from the emotional state comes action, and from action results. The successful entrepreneur is not the one who memorizes accounting formulas, but the one who keeps their emotions aligned with their numerical goals. You can make great plans, hire the best advisors, execute perfect campaigns, but if deep within your consciousness there is doubt, guilt, fear of success, or unworthiness, then those emotions, not the plans, will design your financial reality. The law of correspondence does not fail. If your bank account is in the red, it is because your vibratory state was there first. If your sales drop without logical explanation, it is likely your faith has diminished, your vision clouded, your emotions unstable. Numbers only reflect you are not being punished, you are being informed. Life shows you in your balance sheets what vibrates within you. Do you want to know how your spiritual state is? Observe your accounting, but don't stop there, because just as the mind produces results, it can correct them. And for that, you need a method. I propose then an infallible practice, the nightly correspondence review. This technique aims to align your emotions with your economic goals every day. Because it's not enough to desire high figures, you must feel them as your own. Each night before sleeping, do the following. Sit in silence and breathe deeply. Close your eyes and relax your body. Visualize the accounting balance of your day, not only the money earned or spent, but the emotions that accompanied it. Was there gratitude, tension, surprise, fear? Compare that emotional state with your goals. Ask yourself honestly, did I vibrate today as one who already possesses what I desire? Were my emotions consistent with the abundance I claim to seek? Mentally correct any dissonance. If you felt fear, now visualize the scene with calmness. If you complained, replace that complaint with an inner blessing. If you doubted, firmly repeat, my outer world reflects my inner order. I choose to vibrate in faith. Close the exercise by decreeing your desired figures, not as if asking for them, but reaffirming them. My monthly income exceeds tenfold. Every client who arrives reflects my inner expansion. Every expense transforms into multiplied investment. This habit, practiced for 21 nights, will reprogram your emotional structure. You will see new ideas, useful contacts, precise intuitions begin to appear, not because you force them, but because your field has become receptive. Remember, the universe does not respond to your written goals if your soul contradicts them. The law of correspondence does not listen to your agenda, it listens to your vibration. And if you vibrate as one who already possesses, then that very thing will be reflected. Solomon did not become rich through technical wisdom, but through spiritual understanding. Give me wisdom to govern, he asked. And wisdom made him prosperous because he understood that all external management begins with internal management. I invite you to review your accounting with spiritual eyes, not to lament, but to adjust. Every number is a sign, every income an affirmation, every expense a sowing. Make your business, big or small, a projection of your inner order. And never forget, the most accurate financial balance is the one that reflects the peace of the soul. Chapter 10. Sowing Money with Purpose. One of the greatest illusions of human consciousness is thinking that spending is losing. This idea has caused more scarcity than any economic crisis, because when the soul associates payment with loss, every outflow of money becomes a trauma, and that trauma, when repeated, creates a pattern of impoverishment. But there is another way to live money, as seed. And every seed, when sown with intention and faith, returns multiplied. Just as the farmer does not lose by casting the grain into the earth, but activates a law of growth, you do not lose by spending. You sow, and as long as your consciousness affirms it, your field will reflect it. Malachi, the visionary prophet, expressed this with undeniable clarity. "Bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me now in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." Malachi 3:10. This passage does not refer only to the formal tithe, but to every form of economic circulation done with purpose. Every peso you give with faith is a spiritual tithe. Every blessed expense is an open channel for abundant return. Ralph Waldo Emerson confirms this from another tradition. Cause and effect, means and end, seed and fruit are inseparable. In other words, what you do with money in its visible form directly accepts its invisible form. Therefore, the intention with which you pay determines the effect you will receive. Here arises the principle of sowing money with purpose, and this principle transforms every ordinary expense, the supermarket purchase, the utility bill, the debt payment, into a spiritual act of conscious sowing. How to do it? Through two practices: intentional notation and awareness of each bill's second destination. 1. Intentional notation. Before making any payment, whether in cash, by card, or transfer, pause for a moment. Don't act mechanically. Breathe. Take your phone or a notebook and write a line expressing the vibratory intention of the act. For example, "This payment supports the comfort of my home. Thank you because I can do this with peace. This expense is an investment in my well-being and expansion. This money serves the purpose of love and therefore returns multiplied." This simple gesture transforms an ordinary financial act into a vibrational prayer. It's not the money that determines the outcome, but the charity of consciousness with which you give it. I have worked with people who, by implementing this practice, without changing their income, began to receive bonuses, unexpected refunds, debt cancellations, not by luck but by energetic coherence, by vibrational correspondence. 2. The second destination of the bill. Every bill that passes through your hands does not stop at its receiver. It continues its journey. It buys, sustains, circulates, generates. What you give to the world feeds structures, people, causes, and that cycle includes you. The money you pay today will be part of a flow that returns to you, directly or indirectly. Therefore, before handing over a bill, look at it carefully. Visualize its second destination. If you pay at a store, imagine the merchant happy covering their bills. If you give a tip, visualize that worker buying bread for their family. If you invest in education, see your own future wiser, better prepared, more prosperous. Then, before releasing that bill, say silently, "Go and serve. Multiply the good and return to me through even higher paths." This simple act of awareness transforms your economy because you are no longer a victim of a system that takes from you. You are a participant in a spiritual network that expands you. Money, dear reader, is obedient. It doesn't care if you give it with sadness or joy, but it will respond very differently in each case. If you pay with fear, you introduce an order to flee. If you pay with complaint, you program a loss. If you pay with purpose, you create a channel of return. The difference between a life of scarcity and a life of abundance is not in the amount of income, but in the charity of consciousness from which you give. Because, as you well know, the universe never measures amounts, it measures vibrations. And if you vibrate with the certainty that every money given is seed, then you will begin to live harvests. Make it a habit. Every time you pay, sow, and every time you sow, affirm, and every time you affirm, give thanks. Then the cycle will close, and the return will be inevitable. Chapter 11. Creative Service and Quantum Multiplication. All enduring money comes from service. All expanding wealth is born from usefulness. The universe does not reward accumulation, but circulation with purpose. And among the highest purposes is to improve the lives of others through your talents, your work, your awakened consciousness. There is no real financial expansion without a corresponding social expansion. When you serve from your authentic gift, you generate a resonance that the universe recognizes, multiplies, and returns. Paul, in his letter to the Galatians, states, "Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else, for each one should carry their own load." Galatians 6:4-5. This exhortation does not point to selfishness, but to vibrational responsibility. Each person is the creator of their own field. Each one sows through their actions. And if your work, your service, aligns with the needs of others and your own growth, then that burden transforms into a channel of continuous blessing. Buddha taught that the only way to find meaning in life is to lose yourself in service to others, not as sacrifice, but as a vibrational strategy. Because when you give from your essence, you activate a field of coherence, and in that field money flows without blockage. The universe loves usefulness, not the cold usefulness of calculation, but the warm usefulness of a soul eager to contribute. Maslow, from a psychological perspective, understood that human fulfillment is not achieved merely by satisfying basic needs. Self-actualization, the highest level in his hierarchy, is only reached when the individual serves from their fullness. And that self-actualization is not a spiritual whim. It is a frequency that magnetizes real, tangible, measurable abundance. Therefore, if you want your economy to grow, stop asking only, "What do I sell? What do I charge? What do they owe me?" And start asking the twin questions that activate quantum multiplication. How do I serve? How do I grow? These two questions, repeated every morning, direct your mental energy toward coherent expansion. The first connects you with the outside, the environment, collective need. The second connects you with the inside, your potential, your development, your evolutionary leap. When both are answered, money comes, not as the sole goal, but as an inevitable consequence. Make it a habit to start each day with this formula. Today I open myself to serve from the best of me. My service is useful, necessary, and welcomed. And as I serve, I grow. My income reflects the positive impact I generate. I sow value, and value returns to me multiplied. This is not cheap motivation. It is spiritual physics. Because when your attention turns to conscious giving, your ego shrinks, your frequency rises, and your field organizes. And that order produces synchronicities, calls that come, doors that open, ideas that appear. A therapist in Costa Rica applied this formula for 30 days. Before every consultation, he asked himself, "How can I better serve this person? What must I learn from them to also grow?" Within a month, he doubled his clientele, but more than that, his personal satisfaction soared, and his peace of mind translated into better health, improved relationships, and greater clarity, because money became a reflection of his vibrational coherence. Do you want to grow economically? Then improve your service. Ask yourself, am I offering the best of me or a trimmed-down version? Am I solving real problems or selling illusions? Am I expanding or repeating myself? Quantum multiplication does not happen by chance. It happens when the human channel aligns with the flow of life, and life always rewards loving usefulness. A common mistake is thinking that to serve one must sacrifice, give up, suffer. That is a legacy of old thinking. In new thinking, serving and prospering are not opposites. They are vibrational synonyms. Because when you give from your creative center, you grow, and when you grow, you give more. And that cycle feeds itself in an ascending spiral. Also ask yourself, where are the empty spaces I can fill? What unmet need can I attend to? What talent of mine lies dormant, waiting to manifest? And don't limit yourself to what you already know how to do. Awaken new skills, invent new paths, combine what you have learned. Because creative service requires adaptation, evolution, reinvention, and everything that is reinvented with love finds its market. Remember, you are not here to survive. You are here to contribute, and the more authentic your contribution, the more stable your prosperity. Make each day a sowing of usefulness, and do not fear. The universe never forgets those who elevate their surroundings. Every creative service generates return. Every true expansion includes abundance. Chapter 12. Transmuting crisis into flow. Every crisis, without exception, contains a seed of expansion. The problem is not the crisis itself. The real problem is not knowing what to do with it. Most people react to difficulty with paralysis, fear, complaints, or resignation. But those who understand the mental law, who have grasped the vibrational dynamics of the universe, transform each crisis into a higher impulse, because they know with deep certainty that every apparent interruption of flow is nothing more than a reorganization of good on another frequency. Job, an archetypal figure of the Old Testament, perfectly represents this principle. He lost possessions, family, health, and social support. Everything seemed to indicate that misfortune was final. Yet he did not break, and when his consciousness aligned with truth, his restoration was complete. The Lord blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning. Job 42:12. What changed? Not the external conditions, but his internal frequency. He transmuted the crisis into flow. As I have narrated in lectures and books, I have worked with hundreds of people facing extreme situations. Financial bankruptcy, sudden illness, family betrayals, emotional losses. All of them, without exception, discovered that by applying a precise mental protocol, the flow returned. Not always as expected, but at a higher, more mature, richer level. That protocol is what I teach you today, not as theory, but as an operational method. Keep it, write it down, use it every time you feel everything collapsing. Immediate transmutation protocol. 1. Calm the heart. When crisis strikes, an unexpected email, a call with bad news, loss of income, the first impulse is emotional, anxiety, anger, fear. But in that state, you cannot create. So the first step is to calm the center. Place your right hand on your chest, close your eyes, breathe deeply. Inhale, counting to 4. Hold for 2 seconds. Exhale in 6 counts. Do this for 3 minutes. While breathing, repeat internally. This situation does not define my destiny. I am greater than this form. I am consciousness, not circumstance. This simple act reorganizes your heart field, which, as modern studies show, has a more powerful vibrational range than the brain. When you calm the heart, you reconfigure your reality. 2. Mental reaffirmation. Once the body is calm, restore mental direction. In crisis, the mind tends to spin in circles. Why is this happening to me? If I don't save myself, all is lost. This kind of thinking doesn't solve, it paralyzes. Interrupt this cycle with direct, powerful, specific affirmations. Here are some formulas I have taught effectively. This too shall pass. Nothing can stop the flow of good. I am open to unexpected solutions, and divine intelligence already works in my favor. Every crisis is the prelude to a leap. I'm ready to grow, and I am not alone. Universal substance sustains me. Repeat these phrases whenever your mind veers toward fear. Write them down, stick them on your walls, carry them in your pocket. They are anchors in the storm. 3. Inspired immediate action. Paralysis is the worst ally of crisis. Once you have calmed the heart and reordered your mind, act, not from haste, but from intuition. Ask yourself, what can I do today, now, in this moment, that will return me to flow? It doesn't matter if it's small, a call, a letter, a decision, a new approach. The universe responds to coherent action, not justified passivity. A woman in Mexico, after losing her job without warning, applied this protocol. Instead of sinking into lament, she breathed, affirmed, and then called a contact she had avoided out of shame. That call opened a better opportunity than her previous job, not by luck but by restored vibration. A man in Buenos Aires, after being scammed by a partner, wrote a different affirmation about divine justice and restoration every night. Within a month, he recovered some money through an unexpected channel. More than that, he discovered a new investment method that doubled his income. These are not miracles in the religious sense, but natural responses of a universe that obeys the law of the field. If your frequency is victimhood, you attract chaos. If your frequency is restoration, you attract solutions. And remember, crisis is also a message. It doesn't come to destroy you, but to update you. If you get stuck in complaints, you repeat the pattern. If you are willing to listen, you evolve. Every interruption of flow is an invitation to a higher flow. Ask yourself, what version of me is emerging from this crisis? If you can answer that honestly, you have already won. As the eternal text says, when I am weak, then I am strong. 2 Corinthians 12:10. Because that apparent weakness is the turning point that activates inner power. Murray always taught that thought is cause and effect is condition. Do not fear the condition. Transmute it from the cause, and the flow will return. Chapter 13. Mystical Dialogue with Your Checkbook. The relationship you have with money is not written in your financial statements, but in your inner conversation. It is not the bank balance that determines your wealth, but the words, emotions, and judgments you project. Consciously or unconsciously, every time you look at a number, pay a bill, or open a checkbook, you engage in this conversation. And if that conversation is filled with tension, fear, or disdain, no matter how much money you earn, you will live as if you had little, because you will have sabotaged the spiritual relationship with the monetary flow. Emetox wisely said, "Everything that exists in your life is the result of your mental conversations, and that includes finances. Therefore, one of the most transformative acts you can undertake is to initiate a mystical dialogue with your checkbook, not as someone doing external accounting, but as one who listens to the soul of their economy. Your checkbook, your banking app, your expense notebook, your digital record is not a cold object. It is a living mirror of your consciousness of value. And like any mirror, it can be an ally if you treat it with respect and clarity, or an enemy if you project unresolved frustrations onto it. Luke in his Gospel reminds us that he who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 4:10. Here, very little does not allude to scarcity, but to the visible, the numerical, the everyday. If you cannot speak respectfully and gratefully about an amount of $10, it will be difficult for you to be entrusted with $10,000, because energy responds to attitude, not quantity. The dialogue exercise. I suggest doing this every week on Sunday night. Take your checkbook, bank statement, or digital app. Open a space without interruptions. Light a candle if you wish, or simply breathe deeply for 1 minute. Then with pencil and paper, imagine that each number, each transaction, each figure has a voice. Ask it, what are you trying to tell me? What emotion are you reflecting? What can I learn from you? And listen with intuition. Write down whatever arises without censorship. Maybe a low number says, I'm waiting for you to trust me before I grow. Maybe an unexpected income says, I am the reflection of a generous act you forgot. Maybe a frequent charge whispers, here is an emotional leak you need to look at. This closed game is not fantasy. It is vibrational reprogramming. By treating your accounts as beings with whom you can dialogue, you are humanizing your economy, restoring its character as a sacred instrument. Because money is neither destiny nor punishment. It is mirror and messenger. Associate each number with a spiritual value. In your dialogue, start relating the numbers not only to their amount, but to their meaning. For example, 0 represents initiative, the seed, the beginning. Dollar can symbolize movement, opening of paths. $10 reflects initial fullness, a firm foundation. $100 vibrates as shared abundance. 000 can represent high-impact service. $10,000 or more vibrates at the frequency of inheritance. Do not take this as superstition, but as a way to associate elevated emotion to the number. Because every number, when loaded with meaning, becomes a channel, no matter how small. If you assign it spiritual value, it becomes a seed of certainty. An entrepreneur confessed to me, Doctor, I never spoke to my accounts. I only looked at them with fear. I tried this exercise. Within a month, he had reordered not only his financial flow, but also his personal energy. He said, now my account talks to me, guides me, suggests pauses, and when I listen, it grows. Another woman, a housekeeper, began writing letters to her balance. She said, thank you for accompanying me. I know you will grow. I am learning to take care of you. In 3 months, she doubled her saving capacity without increasing income. Why? Because gratitude modifies the field. Give thanks for every movement. Do not close the session without gratitude. Even if the balance is low, say, thank you for teaching me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for circulating. That gratitude opens the flow because you cannot receive more than what you despise. Your checkbook, dear reader, is a silent altar. If you honor it, it will be certain. If you ignore it, it withers. Practice this mystical dialogue for 21 weeks. You will see how your numbers begin to reflect a different vibration. Not by magic, but by coherence. Because where there is listening, there is revelation, and where there is revelation, there is transformation. Chapter 14. Legacy of Conscious Abundance. True wealth does not culminate in accumulation, but in continuity. It is not measured solely by what an individual has gathered in life, but by what they leave vibrating beyond their physical presence. Conscious abundance has an essential component, legacy, and that legacy, when deliberately directed, not only benefits others, but prolongs the personal energy flow on levels that transcend time and space. Solomon, the wise king of Israel, whose fortune and wisdom transcended generations, expressed it this way: "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." Proverbs 13:22. He did not speak exclusively of material goods, but of a vibratory flow, a transmission of consciousness, a pattern of blessing. The most powerful inheritance is not gold, but the prosperous mindset that continues to operate in the blood, mind, and spirit of those who receive it. Andrew Carnegie, one of the most influential industrial magnates of the 19th century, understood this in his maturity. After amassing a colossal fortune, he decided to donate the majority of his wealth to educational and philanthropic causes. He stated, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." What he meant was not that possessing wealth is immoral, but that it is spiritually incomplete to retain it without projecting it. The flow cannot stop without consequences, and whoever wants to remain in the current must extend it beyond their immediate circle. Hence the need to learn how to program inheritances, donations, and philanthropic projects, not as late acts of remorse, but as conscious extensions of the personal abundance field. This act does not belong exclusively to millionaires. Every person, regardless of income level, can and should assume the vibratory responsibility to sow beyond themselves. Programmed inheritances. An inheritance is not just a transfer of goods, it is a transfer of beliefs, frequencies, invisible instructions. Many inherit houses and bank accounts, but also fears, silences, patterns of scarcity or guilt. Therefore, anyone who wishes to leave an inheritance aligned with spiritual law must cleanse it of emotional burdens and charge it with elevated intention. Before drafting a will, before deciding recipients and amounts, enter deep meditation. Ask yourself, what do I want to perpetuate with this gift? What seed do I want to leave in the soul of the recipient? What higher purpose do I wish to activate with this asset? Write legacy letters, not just legal clauses. Leave living messages, affirmations, stories, visions. Transmit the consciousness behind the capital, because what remains is not the object but the vibration. Conscious donations. Giving is not simply handing over, it is projecting an intention. Every time you donate to a cause, a person or an institution, you are extending your energetic field. If you do it with guilt, you reinforce scarcity. If you do it with vibratory compassion, you multiply abundance. Make every donation a ceremonial act. Even if it is a small amount, say an internal phrase before giving it. This money carries my gratitude, my love, and my vision of good. May it serve growth and return multiplied to me and the world. A woman in Chile began giving 3% of her income to a community library. It was not a large sum, but she did it monthly with devotion. Within a year, a publisher invited her to write a book about popular education. The cause she blessed her back. Philanthropic projects as energetic extension. You don't need to wait until death to activate your legacy. You can start now with a small project, a scholarship, mentorship, fundraiser, or foundation. The essential thing is not the scale, but the intention. Every initiative that benefits others and includes you as a conscious channel becomes a quantum multiplier. One of my students with modest income decided to create a reading group for vulnerable children. She bought 10 books and organized weekly meetings in her neighborhood. Today, that group has become a regional educational program, and she, without planning it, received a scholarship for a master's degree. When you sow an idea that no longer belongs exclusively to you, the universe associates you with larger flows, and when you hold that sowing with joy, you become indispensable for the expansion of good. Do not fear letting go of what has already fulfilled its function. Any energy retained without purpose stagnates, but all energy projected with love returns transformed into legacy, blessing, active memory. Make your economy a living work of art, not a deposit but a current, and not a closed current, but a network that flows to corners where your presence no longer reaches, but your vibration does. Epilogue. the infinite current. You have reached the end of this journey, but not the end of the teaching, because the deep truth you have begun to assimilate is neither finite, exclusive, nor confined to these pages. It is a current, and like every living current, it continues, expands, renews. Just as a river does not ask if it may flow, it simply does. So too must consciousness learn to flow in abundance, without judgment, without guilt, without stagnation. John the Evangelist wrote, "From his heart will flow rivers of living water." John 7:38. That living water is creative energy, infinite substance, invisible wealth that becomes form when it finds a willing mind, elevated emotion, and a will surrendered to good. Money, properly understood, is nothing more than one of the many forms that current can take. And when your consciousness aligns with it, you stop fighting and start swimming. Emerson, with his direct and sure style, said, "The wise man enriches without fatigue." Why? Because he does not work against the current, does not try to force results, nor obsess over form. He simply lets himself be carried by the flow he has intuited as true. He lives in harmony with the rhythm of giving and receiving. He knows the principle of circulation, and his wealth is not inert accumulation, but constant expression of the flowing spirit. This work has not been a technical treatise or a conventional finance manual. It has been a call, an awakening, a deep reorganization of thought about money. You can no longer see it as a dead object, nor as a symbol of struggle, nor as a scarce good. Now you know, and you know for sure, that money is living energy that responds to your vibration, obeys your faith, and reflects your consciousness. Everything you have read here must now be practiced, not as one rehearses a technique, but as one assumes a new vibratory identity. You are no longer a spiritual beggar. You are a channel, a conscious node within a network of infinite abundance. When you give, give with joy. When you collect, collect with gratitude. When you suffice, do so like one who sows. When you receive, receive with humility and faith. And when you have nothing visible, remember that the invisible is more powerful. Nothing is lost if your frequency remains. Nothing is fixed if your mind has been transformed. Remember this, money is never the cause, it is the effect. And effect can always be transformed from the higher cause. You are that cause. Your thought, your word, your vision, your emotion, your decision to live as one who trusts. Trust because the current is already moving, and you can swim in it, not as one afraid of drowning, but as one who knows they were born to float, to advance, to play even in the waters of the spirit. Say with me now, beloved reader, I swim in the infinite current, and I am sustained, I am guided, I am provided for. Every step I take, every thought I cultivate, every seed I sow connects me more and more with the inexhaustible source of good. I am abundance, I am flow, I am the living extension of the eternal river of the Spirit. So it is, so it vibrates, so it will be. And if someday doubt returns to knock at your door, remember this one truth. Money is current, and you are made to flow.